In this video I'm going to talk you through how to assemble your toolkit to cut slope pieces. Pieces like this, which I call a G1 hex with a single high point, the G2 hex with 2 high points, the G3 hex with 3 high points, and the G4 hex with 4 high points. Hopefully you can see that okay. I'm not going to be cutting the hexes in this video, this is just about showing how to assemble it, how to assemble the toolkit. So in your toolkit you should have some of these side pieces, and you can see that there's at one end you've got this is a 15mm gap at the top and 7.5mm gap at the bottom. So this way up is for cutting grass hexes, and this way up would be for river hexes if you want to. You might have a reason to use that. So we're going to be using the grass way up initially. You've got 2 tabbed hex braces. Depending on the reward level you have, you may or may not have these cutouts in them. There are advantages to having them if you do, which I've talked about elsewhere. So we'll take our side, put the hex jig uppermost, because if you've got a piece like this, you want to be able to sit into that hex jig, into that hex cutout. So we'll slot that in, and the hex cutout will go beneath it in the next slot down. So the reason we have 2 of these braces is to keep the whole cutter much more rigid. The whole tool will be much more rigid than with just one of them. Then take your T-bar, which hopefully you have prepped by now. I've given instructions in other videos how to prepare these. They can be quite a tight fit. I found I actually had to sand mine down lightly with some sandpaper to get them to fit well. So whichever of these you're cutting, you're always going to have one low side. In fact, any hex you cut, you can have one low side at least. And then we'll follow that with a slope. So the slope's only got the 2 slots, so there's no decision to be made about which one to use. You see I'm not pushing it all the way down, just because it's going to make it easier to pull it out afterwards. That's kind of what this T-bar is for. And this slope is taken up from 15mm deep at this end to 30 at this end. So now when I take my next piece and move around, instead of using the top 2 slots as before, just move it up one. And that'll take it to the sort of top of the slope height. And we'll brace it again with the pin. And I think I'll make this to a G2 configuration. So switch the slopes coming down, another pin, and the last side. And that's it assembled. So you can see that's really is quite rigid. Well, it'll flex a bit, but once you've got your polystyrene blanks, this is 2 hexes I cut earlier, which have been glued together. And if you are going to glue them together, make sure you give it at least overnight for the glue to set. It can take surprisingly, give that 3 or 4 hours is not going to be long enough. The glue on the inside, because the air's not really getting to it. The glue will still be soft, which can cause problems when you're cutting out. And pop in. It's all quite rigid now. Depending on your reward level, you may not have all these short pieces. You might have a mix of a mix of these longer ones, which you can use in the same way. So you can see you use the top two slots, and it'll perform the same function. What I suggest is if you do have the shorter pieces, it's better to use them, and it's just a bit easier to handle. And if you are using a long piece, just take care, because obviously you've got this piece sticking out the bottom. You don't want to catch that and bang it on something and snap it across. So take extra care for using the long pieces. There you go. And then once you've done cutting it, because of these two holes in the bottom, if you have them, you can just pop them out like that. Okay, that's how to assemble your toolkit.